Hello, gamers, and welcome to a bonus episode of Xbot and Pony. My name is Phil.
My name is Nick.
And today we're going to be throwing out our predictions for Sony and the Summer of Gaming, because there's quite a few announcements coming. And at this point in time, they also may have their event next week. So we are going to discuss what we think is coming our way. All right. What do you think, Nick?
Well, it's an interesting time. I've done up a little bingo list and you have yours. I've last minute revised mine. I haven't sent it to you yet, so I'll send it to you in a minute. And
Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Look at the things I've changed.
So
yeah,
a bit of background on this one, because this is a common thing that gamers do, but Nick and I have done this for the last couple of years, haven't we, around E3, where we come up with these bingo sheets for all of the gaming companies, so for Nintendo, for Microsoft and Sony, and what we think is going to come up. Now, it'll be a bit of a mix. It'll be some safe bets that we're pretty sure they're going to discuss. It might be things that are just dream projects that we really hope would happen. Sometimes it would just be things that are way out of left field that we think would be hilarious for them to announce. And so we've got a bit of a mixture today, haven't we?
We do.
Yeah, but sadly, no E3 this year. So we're going to have to spread out our bingo sheets for a few months.
Yeah, it's going to be different. And sitting up at 3 o'clock in the morning going tick, tick, cross, cross isn't going to be happening. So. But yeah, next week we should get some Sony news and some first-party titles and hopefully third-party as well, and actually see next-gen gameplay footage. Should be exciting.
It is. Good, exciting times. Right, Nick, do you want to go first or shall I? Who wants to show their bingo cards?
We'll put yours up first, as you're the Sony fan, or the pony, as I should say.
Well, yeah, when you're number one, you should probably go first, right?
True, you should. You should, definitely. Yeah.
All right, so guys, pay attention on 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Yeah, there is my Sony bingo card. Now, Nick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you drive this one, and you're going to tell me what ones jump out at you and what you want to know more about.
Okay, let's have a look. What do we got here? So Astrobot, Rescue Mission, Horizon Zero Dawn 2. I expect that to be a launch title. Don't need to know too much about that. Okay, the first one I'm going to ask, as I would be very excited if it did happen, Time Splitters 4.
Yeah. So this is, I don't know, I can't decide how mean I want to be with that one, but I know that there was talk a little while back that apparently it was in development, wasn't it?
It is. Still is apparently. Confirmed. Yeah, reconfirmed.
Yeah. So. And apparently it's been a couple of years, so it could theoretically be ready for next gen. I'm completely talking out of my butt and have no evidence for this whatsoever, but just average development timings, it could come along.
It could happen.
Yeah.
They paid a bit of money to get this back and get the license, and we're not talking about the PC fan remake either. There is Time Splitters remake happening on the PC, but no, the actual proper licensing was bought. So I would love it, because Time Splitters 2 is my favourite games.
Yeah, well, I think you and I are on the same page with that, because I've still got these. I still absolutely love them. They're so much fun. But my prediction on this one isn't that it's going to be a PS5 exclusive. I have no belief that it will be. However, I think we may end up with one of those scenarios where Sony gets exclusive marketing rights to it. And so it might get revealed at the event, but it will be available elsewhere as well.
That's interesting. Let's see what happens next week. Okay, the next one. I have to ask, because most people want to know, Silent Hill. But why does it have a VR logo?
I know. All right, so... you guys might not know, but when we do these, Nick and I obviously just troll through all the rumors that we can ever find, everything that's being discussed. And the big one at the moment is that someone may have bought Silent Hill. 1 week, it's Xbox have bought them. 1 week, it's Sony has bought the rights to Silent Hill. 1 week, there's a remake and a new version, and it's changing all the time. So rather than just going for the safe bet of there's a new Silent Hill game, I'm going to say that Sony are making a Silent Hill VR experience. All right, there's going to be a VR only game in the style of something like Resident Evil 7, and I can imagine it being absolutely terrifying in VR.
Resident
Absolutely
Evil
terrifying.
7 was.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Like, I mean, jumps to my mind. Let's talk Silent Hill 1, where
Yep.
you're walking around the school and you've got people that are sort of coming through doors and you're hearing noises coming down the hallway and suddenly the floor seems to collapse and you're hallucinating. Can you imagine seeing all that in VR? Like, that would be insane. Like, I would literally crap myself.
I think people would have a heart attack and die.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you
So
seen those VR fail videos on YouTube where people scream and fall and
yeah.
I think some people would die. It would be intense. I mean, Silent Hill, all of them, they were really good. It's strange we haven't had another Silent Hill since then. Like, it's been a while. So VR left field.
It is left field. That's one of my left field ones where I don't really believe it, but it would be pretty damn cool if it happened.
Well, all they need to do is make a first-person version, and boom, there's your VR. That worked with Resident Evil 7. So why not?
I was genuinely disturbed by Resident Evil 7 in VR at times. Really disturbed. They did a good job on it.
They done really well. It still is probably the only full-fledged game besides maybe Astro, but like a lot of other games are experiences. They're short-lived. It is a full game done in VR, so it's impressive and early on too. So kudos to Capcom for doing that. To be honest,
really Here's hoping Resident Evil 8: The Village is in VR as well. I'd be real psyched for that.
We might find out in 2 weeks. Maybe exclusive to Sony VR.
Maybe. Who knows? No. All right. Anything else jump out at you?
There's a few, but I'll go with the Vita.
It's a bit of a simple one. So you and I have discussed backwards compatibility before, and I feel like it's time for the Vita to have a little bit of love, and that maybe PS5, they will have some sort of let me rewind on that. They'll expand the PlayStation Now service to include some Vita and PSP games, because I reckon people would be interested in those. The 3DS was selling some of those older portable games as well, and they did well. I don't see why that wouldn't happen here.
Honestly, I think PS Now needs to expand to iPhone and Android as well. Yeah. It would make sense, and those Vita games would make even more sense. Yeah. Xbox is doing it with xCloud and their game streaming service, so why not? I mean, why limit yourself to just PC? Put it on every device so we can play the games we love.
Yeah. The only problem that I can foresee is that you've got the back touchpad on the PS Vita. That might make certain games tricky, but people are clever.
Nintendo's in ways around that, haven't they? Like, I mean, look at touchscreen games, Wonderful 101. Yeah. There's ways to mimic those kind of things, or even remove some of those things altogether completely. Yeah. Because wasn't the Wii U version of a game you actually had to blow Mario? You had to blow into the. So that just wasn't there. They just couldn't have it in there on the Switch version. So again, doesn't change anything. It doesn't mean anything. So.
But yeah, there were some good games on the Vita, man. Like that Uncharted game. I know it wasn't made by Naughty Dog, but it was a good game, and they did manage to get over. Gravity Rush was the other one that was really good on the Vita, but they did do a remastered version before. So I get that, but it's worth a shot. I think just a simple thing. I think it wouldn't take much effort, and it would make a lot of people happy, especially the Japanese market, because the Vita's still huge over there.
Yeah, well, look at the Switch. It's just killing the PlayStation 4 over there. Like,
I mean, can you imagine, for the Japanese market, if you said to them, Persona 4 Golden that was on the Vita is going to appear on the PS5, people would explode. They would absolutely go nuts. Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, that's why the Vita's there.
Interesting. I'll leave that one until last. We'll go with Siphon Filter.
Siphon Filter, yeah. What do you think about that one?
I'm pretty sure I put that on my list as well. I think stealth games need a comeback. I mean, Metal Gear Solid's the only real stealth game around. Fingers crossed we get another Perfect Dark. It might not happen though. And another Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. But those type of games don't exist. They've got a bit of action in them, but stealth is what we're missing. It's a genre that's just kind of died.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think that's a possibility, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think it.
Silent Hills is one of those ones that I remember playing. I'm sorry, Nick.
Sorry.
I remember playing around a friend's house. I never actually owned the game, but it was great fun, and clearly a lot of people got a lot of joy out of it. And am I remembering this right, that it was one of the ones that was actually online with the PS2 at the time? Yeah.
Yep. First online.
Yeah, so that very easily could be adapted to a modern audience now with a new version of that. I don't see that would be an issue, and it would sell well. I know there's been sort of rumors about it, and people have been begging for it. So, go for it. That sounds like easy money on the table.
I think so, and I think they don't need to get one of their first-party studios to do that. They could get another studio to do that for them through the publishing. It doesn't have to be one of the big studios. So. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to ask about is Shenmue 4. I have to ask. How can I not?
Yeah, no, that's just one of my wild ones. Really, is I'm a huge Shenmue fan. I know it's flawed. I know that it's not the greatest game in the world, but it means a lot to me. And Shenmue 3 had potential, but I feel like they didn't quite dig deep enough. So I would like them to give it another shot. Now, I don't know if now they've got a bit more funding or a bit more money, whatever. They could do a slightly better job, maybe. But I'm always going to dream of that Shenmue 4. I suspect that if we ever get it, it's going to be another Kickstarter job. So you never know. Maybe Sony would announce that Kickstarter again. But yeah, that's just a personal dream one there.
Did we get any sales figures for it?
I don't think I've seen. So no, I think is the short answer. I don't think retail sales were great. I think I read somewhere that they only sold about 200,000 copies.
That's a digital one. I mean, you got backers and everything as well.
That's the thing. That's the thing to keep in mind is, what was it, 6 million they made off the Kickstarter. So a lot of backers would have got their copies. Like you said, digital sales might have been a bit higher as well. I don't think it did great, to be honest. But I would still love Shenmue 4. But that's me being selfish.
Quickly, do you think it'll come to the Xbox One?
It could, couldn't it? Let's be honest, it could. I know it's still a little bit vague as to what Sony's actual involvement with it, because I think there was talk of they were helping out with marketing, but then they didn't promote that game at all when it came out. So
it's like with the Kickstarter promoting it, and they didn't fund it. So
and the 1 and 2 collection made it over to the Xbox One, so it could happen. I'm not saying that it can't, and I don't think Sony's going to see this as a major money maker. It's a good public relations piece, but it's not a good money maker.
Yeah, well, I would like it. I know you said it's not the best game, but I think with the way the Xbox is and the lack of Japanese type games, I'm not sure. It was in Game Pass, so maybe it went okay in Game Pass for Xbox. But you'd think if it done anything on the Xbox One, the first two, then hopefully they'll port it over and make a bit more money from it anyway and keep the series alive, and everybody gets to enjoy another one, especially the fans, because that's what matters.
Have I got it near me? So technically, you'll like this. Technically, I actually own 2 Xbox games. All right.
Wow. Shock horror. Oh, what are they?
So the OG Xbox version of Shenmue 2. All right.
Yeah.
It's the only version in English. And then the collection on the Xbox One. I don't even own an Xbox One, but I wanted to support it at the time.
That doesn't matter, because when you buy a Series X, you just pop that disc in it, and guess what happens?
I'll be able to play it in 4K.
It works. Yeah.
4K Shenmue. Yeah.
So yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Quickly go over it again. The PlayStation Now. What do you think they're going to do with that? You've got that on your list, so
I do. Yeah. So I think this is going to be where they're going to do a major expansion next gen. They've got to. Xbox has been firing on all cylinders with that Game Pass, so they've got to catch up now. Like they can see that it's going to make money. It's a good recurring. What do you call it? Recurring income or whatever it's.
Just constant income.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
Right.
It makes sense, and they've got the library that they can make this absolutely kick ass. Like theoretically, if they can make it all work, and I know it's not all easy, I get that. But theoretically, if you could have PlayStation 1 to 4 available on your PS5 and maybe pursue the day and date release games on PS5,
Right.
damn, that would be good value. Seriously good value. Whether Sony will do it, I'm not convinced. No. Maybe they would include some PS4 games on it. I don't know.
Apparently, Spider-Man's coming soon.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But yeah, I'm expecting some kind of major push and expansion on that.
More countries.
Yeah.
Hopefully more devices, and just push it. Because and they said that's what they want to do. They want more of these subscription type, constant income coming in. Your PlayStation Plus. It's just money that rolls in all the time. So it helps you keep that service alive and then make more things like that. But you should be able to reward your consumers as well by giving them what they want, and that's what we want. We'd love to be able to do that. That's Microsoft's philosophy. I don't think they will copy Microsoft, so to speak. I think Microsoft's going to push it a bit harder, but they definitely will go down that route and expand it.
I think so. It's a safe bet, really, isn't it? It makes total sense for them to do it. Yeah. And I don't think anyone would complain. Yeah. No.
Alrighty, there's a few others on there, but we'll probably move on to mine so we don't spend too much time here. And I will now send it to you. So I haven't done that yet. So I changed it a little bit.
All right, I love it. All right, okay. Now, where do I start? All right, I'm a bit of a VR fiend, so go on then. Spider-Man VR. How do you see that happening?
Not the full Spider-Man game, of course, but why not? Iron Man VR's out. It should work. Batman VR. Why not Spider-Man VR? Why not make a Spider-Man experience where it feels like you're swinging and shooting web slingers around?
I'm motion sick just thinking about it. I'm going to puke.
It didn't happen with Iron Man.
Yeah, but I don't know. It feels different. I don't know what it is. It feels different, especially if you're doing like backflips and spinning around like you do in that game and missing the floor by that much and swinging back up. Oh, yeah. I think I'll be puking. Yeah. But yes, you know what? I'd give it a go. There were actually, when they made the movies, the most recent ones, they did release these little VR experiences that you could download for the PlayStation VR. They weren't great, to be honest, but they had like the web shooters and things like that, and you could shoot targets and climb up a crane and bits and pieces. So there was, I think it was more of like a hint at what theoretically a VR Spider-Man game could be.
Tech demos,
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, it was a promotional tool for the movie, but it could work. But yeah, I think I would be, I don't know, there'd be a growing like puddle of vomit all around my TV over time. Yeah.
No, not pretty.
No, and it would start. I wouldn't notice until it was gone past my ankles. It would be uncomfortable for everyone. All right. Let me see what else. So I'm curious. You really think they're going to talk about The Last of Us Part 2 at the PS5 event?
I think they'll have a version for PS5. Yes.
So I don't deny that there probably will eventually be one, because they did do a PS4 version of the first one, didn't they? About 6 months into the PS4's
did.
life cycle.
Yeah.
But I would be doubtful that they would announce a PS5 version of the game before the PS4 version came out.
Probably not. Probably not. Probably a little bit early. But I believe they will have one, and they will charge you to play for it. It's not going to be like the Xbox with smart delivery. My theory is all those they're going to force you to buy them again if you want to play them again. I could be wrong. Everything changes last minute. But that's why I've put that there. I think there will be a version, an enhanced version, whatever you want to call it, or a PlayStation 5 version that you have to pay full price for yet again. With the deals.
You may be right. You may be right on that front. I still remain skeptical that they would announce it during the PS5 event, but you may be right that 6 months to a year later they might release it. Yeah. So all right, let's have some fun. You've this is going to be a 3-for-1 because you've put no PS1, no PS2, and no PS3. Oh.
Yeah, just having a little shot there. You got me a few times last week, so I think I need to return fire a little bit.
Go for it.
You ponies will not be playing PlayStation 2, or PlayStation 3 games on your PlayStation 5. And they will not talk about that. That will not be mentioned at all, ever. They just won't talk about it. That's why it's got the circle with the cross, because they're just not going to talk about those games at all. It'll be interesting if Microsoft does. I don't think they'll mention it too much more, to be honest. But just a little shot.
Yeah, no, fair enough. This is we've discussed this before. It's not unreasonable for PlayStation Now to include PS1, PS2, and at least PS4 games. I get that PS3 on a technical level is an absolute pain to emulate, and it wouldn't work great unless they actually ensured they needed the actual PS3 hardware right inside the PS5 for it to work. Is that right?
Technically, you would have to develop a team like Microsoft has, and they would have to work on those games. Yeah. It's not easy because the architecture and everything of the consoles it was a gaming console. It wasn't built like a PC. It was definitely built like a console. So just the way those machines were built makes it very difficult it's actually difficult to develop for, to be honest. A lot of people don't realize that. It wasn't the easiest machine to work on. So, but PlayStation Now 100% should support it. 100% should support PlayStation.
I wonder if there would be a similar system to what Nintendo does, right? Where you pay for PS Plus, right, to go online, but you would get some sort of app with PS1 and PS2 games that you could then play, and there might be an update every month or so with a few new extra games.
And that would make sense. And pick, don't go through the bottom of the barrel, but pick the ones that people want to play.
Yeah, so it could work. I think I'm with you that I would be extremely doubtful that the PS5 would be able to play PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4 natively, where you would just put the disc in and it would work fine. As much as I would love that, because then I could get rid of a few consoles, I would be very doubtful that would work.
Yeah,
but I may be wrong. You
never know.
Yeah. Silent Hills. Interesting one.
Well, that room just won't go away, will it? You've got the VR version. I didn't think of that. That's very interesting. It has to happen. I mean,
with Kojima?
Most probably not with Kojima. If Sony's paying for it to be exclusive, I'd say no. I don't think that relationship is ever going to be fixed with Konami.
So if Sony bought the license...
Sorry, yeah.
If they bought the license from Konami and then said, hey, Kojima, we've got this, we've got it back for you. Will you work on it for us? You won't be published through Konami. It'll be published through us. Do you think he'd do it?
Yeah. Yes, 100%. I think he'd do it. I mean, he was working on it before, so why not? So 100%. If it's through Konami, then no. It'll just be... Who knows who's making it? Could be Konami making it or them outsourcing it. Who knows? I mean, they've been a bit strange lately themselves.
Evil Konami.
So basically, they're being evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's happening. There's just it won't go away. It won't go away. So there's got to be something behind the scenes. A few people have talked about it. Alana Pierce has spoken about it as well. She reckons she's got info there. So yeah, it's happening, and I hope it is. I really do. I hope it comes out.
I hope so. That was a great series. I know it went a little bit off the rails when they sort of gave it to American developers, but like at its core, it's a really good series, and I hope that they bring it back and do it justice. And we've got the technology now and the experience to make those sort of games absolutely terrifying. So I hope so. Yeah. Okay. So you've got a few safe ones. To be fair, we've discussed Siphon Filter already. Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Yeah, I would love if that was a launch title. Absolutely love that.
If it's not launched, it'll be launch window. Like it'd be early. Like they've had enough time to really dive into this compared to all the other developers Sony has under their umbrella. But if there's any game that's going to be a launch title, it'll definitely be that one.
Yeah, and the voice actress for Aloy did accidentally reveal last year, didn't she, that she was working on the sequel? Yeah, so
but DLC. Whoops, nope, not DLC. Yeah, they went straight into that. I think they knew it was going to be a hit, and look at it, it's so beautiful. So yeah, they knew it was going to be a hit. They went straight in, work on the sequel for a launch title, and it'll be exclusive PS5 title. It won't be on PS4.
I'm not going to ask you about Gran Turismo because I'll be honest, I don't care.
You don't care. It leaked. It actually leaked. Did you see it leak?
No, I didn't. Again, because I don't care.
The racing editor put up the logo, and they said, "Whoops, we put up a logo we found on the internet.
Don't care.
That logo doesn't exist on the internet. So, and it's not Sport 7. So, it'll probably be a launch title too. Yeah, moving on.
Yeah, but no, like me, it's not my thing, but a lot of people like that series, and it's definitely going to shift a few consoles. And car games make consoles look very pretty. They're very good to be graphical powerhouses. So yeah, there's probably a good get. Yeah. CPU and GPU. I'm quite confused. Educate me, sir. What are you referring to?
Xbox Series X has a fairly more powerful CPU and GPU compared to the PlayStation 5. And they will not mention this. When they're talking about their hardware, Sony are not going to mention the CPU or GPU in their system. They will mention the SSD again, probably more than once, and they will mention their games.
Okay.
They're not going to talk power. They're just not.
But is that because they're embarrassed or because they don't think the average player cares?
Well, no, they do. If you hop on Twitter, there's still ponies out there saying the PlayStation 5 is more powerful because of the SSD.
So they know. Straight up, yeah, I don't understand the technical stuff
it's hard
particularly well.
It's not going to be a huge difference, but there's going to be a difference. So again, when it comes to third-party games, they're not going to really try to take it too much. There's plenty on Xbox One Series, Xbox One X, that don't really take advantage of the Xbox One X power. The developer has not been bothered to do it. A good example is Resident Evil 3. It launched at 60 frames per second. No, it launched at a higher resolution on the Xbox One X and didn't work. It just couldn't handle it. The frame rate was lower than the PlayStation 4 Pro. So they went in and they lowered the resolution, and now it runs at a solid frames per second. It doesn't dip in certain parts. So hardware-wise, some games will probably run a little bit better on the Series X, but the reason I put it on the list is they're not going to talk about it. And Microsoft will talk about it, and they're going to continue to talk about it because every single time they post on Twitter or Facebook or anything, it's the world's most powerful console. Yeah. So PC guys will probably lean more towards the Xbox because of power, because that's what they're all about. They're PC guys. I think the difference isn't going to be huge, but it'll be there. It'll be there.
It's I'd be curious because Microsoft has obviously been talking about that sort of thing, but not in their video events, right? They've been talking about it on Twitter so that they can target the people that are interested in it.
Yes.
So I can't imagine. You're probably right. I can't imagine that Sony will discuss that in any depth in one of those reveal events, because that's not what people are there for. They're going to be interested in the games. And let's be honest, we saw what happened last time when Mark Cerny, sorry, did his little presentation that was meant for GDC, and half the world just kind of went.
Well, it was boring. And Microsoft, I think they did it the right way. They got Digital Foundry to do it.
Yeah, that was a great idea. Fantastic idea.
And it's similar to Sony getting Unreal to Epic to reveal the Unreal Engine on PS5. Great idea. Perfect.
Yeah, great idea.
You don't have somebody talking too much tech stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to watch Digital Foundry, you don't have to. It's a YouTube video. It's not forced. If you want to know about the tech side of things, then dive into it and get into it. But yeah, I think both companies are kind of hitting it and missing it at the moment because there's so much competition between the two, which is just good for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, finish it up. They won't talk about CPU and GPU.
No, so they probably won't talk about it because that's not the place to do it. Yeah.
It's not the place to do it. And if they had better CPU, GPU, they probably would. And if you've got it, you're going to flaunt it. It's that simple. But they'll probably talk SSD again. And hopefully they'll show us what that SSD is capable of with their exclusive games.
All right. Is there anything before we go that you want to discuss? Is there anything on your bingo card that you're like, yeah, I desperately want to put that on there and share with you?
Demon Souls. That's been rumored for a while now. That they've got that developer. I can't remember who they're called now. Blue Point, is it? Blue Point that does the remasters. That did the Shadow Colossus. I assume they're making Demon Souls, and I hope so because why not? That'd be great. It was a good game back in the day, and a full remake, not a remaster, but a full remake. Oh, you've got it, don't you? You've got it.
I have the fat collector's edition right there as well. So, yeah.
So would you yourself be keen for a remake, not a remaster, a remake?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. My issue is these sort of games I really like. So I like Dark Souls. I loved Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I'm just really bad at them. Really, really bad at them. But I love how they play. I love the stories. I love the visuals. I love everything about it, except that I am just not good enough. I know I got to get good if I want to actually get through them. So, yeah, I'm one of those, I'm afraid, that please, if you do remake this, can I have an easy mode? Because it would really help me.
Yeah, please. You'll deserve an easy mode.
You know? Like, I'm not some 16-year-old who has, like, 12 hours free every day, you know? I have a full-time job. I might only get a couple of hours a week to play. Can I have an easy mode, please? Not because I'm rubbish, but because I'm time poor.
They could just give you a rocket launcher and a Gatling gun for
yes, that would make my life so much easier. All right, I'll throw a couple of bucks your way.
That's about it. Any last thoughts from you on the event next week? Anything you want to see more than anything else?
No, I mean, there's a couple of things on my bingo card that I think we could discuss at another time. There's things like there's just things that I feel like they need to be improved going on to the PS5. So like the user interface for PS4, I think needs some work. Like it can really slow down at times.
Yeah.
So that needs some work. Same with the PlayStation Store. I feel like that needs to be revamped as well.
It's hard to find things on the PlayStation Store.
Sorry, say that again.
Very hard to find things on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah. I figured out the other day, right? So again, I'm a bit of a VR fan on PlayStation, and whenever I want to buy or find out what a new game is on PSVR, I've got to go all the way down on the shop to the PSVR bit, and it will come up with a load of tiles of games that they're promoting, and I've got to go all the way to the end, hit show all games. Once I'm in there, I've got to apply a filter to reveal the games by release. So it's like 4 or 5 steps before I can see what's new for the system, and that's really impractical. And I bet they lose a lot of sales because people just don't know it's there.
Yep.
So it needs revamping. It needs some work for sure. Yeah.
A guy just posted the latest dashboard for and the Xbox dashboard gets a lot of criticism, as it should. It gets criticism for changing all the time, and I don't think it should. You should always be changing. You should always be trying to improve. And if things aren't good, they'll go back. We
Mm.
got one not long ago, and they scrapped it altogether and went back to the other one because people complained. They're listening to feedback. But a guy just posted in the alpha. I'm not sure if people know, but you can get different rings and you can get updates early. It's a little risky because you can get an update that can break stuff.
Yeah.
Your game's not work. But he posted a new thing, and they're actually adding it into your lists, and you can actually go into your library and then select Game Pass, and it has added last week, added 2 weeks ago, added this month.
Perfect. Yeah,
It's
see, it's so simple, but it's a quality of life thing. Yeah.
It makes so much sense because honestly, you can't do that now. You have to go in and scroll through all the games or scroll through all the Game Pass games. There's categories, but it's a little clunky. But to have that in your list to say what's been released in the last week and the last month is so handy for people that are time poor.
Yeah.
You want to know recent games, and a VR section is perfect. And they should do the same thing for backwards compatibility as well. You know, what has been released in the last month for BC, here it is. A full menu, go in, select what you want, and go from there.
Yeah.
It just makes it easier and quicker. But
All right. Well, maybe we can come back to this because there's plenty more to discuss, I think.
There is.
This we could go on all night. So there you go, guys. What do you think? Do you have your own bingo cards that you make normally for E3, but you're going to apply for this summer? Nick and I will definitely be coming up with our own Xbox and Nintendo ones. So why don't you share what you've put together? We'd love to see what you've done. All right. Anything you want to say before we go, Nick?
Yeah, just like, subscribe, and hit us up on Twitter for any questions, or if you want to send your bingo lists in as well, we'll be happy to read them.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
There you guys. Take care.